Hi everyone, I'm Suraj. I'm excited to be here and share my certification experience with you.
Suraj, could you give everyone a quick introduction to your role at Tuya?
Of course, I primarily focus on interpreting cybersecurity regulations and overseeing product certifications.
And in this webinar, Suraj will provide an in-depth breakdown of the certification process, required materials, and experience. Now, let's get down to business and focus on the key topics we will be covering today. Today, we will introduce the latest implementation decision released in Europe at the beginning of this year, and what changes RED cybersecurity has made and its impact. Also, we will share market feedback and progress of major brands. In addition, we will provide advice to help you evaluate whether to certify and when to start. For our partners' products, we offer a new module authorization service to help you reduce the certification cost, and we'll let you know our module compliance timeline. Last, we will explain the certification process and required materials in detail, help you better complete certification. Now, let's invite Thresh to introduce the latest implementation issued in January and its impact.
In January this year, the European Commission published the impediment decision EU 2025-138, officially establishing EN 18031 as the test standard for RED cybersecurity certification. This decision has brought significant changes to the certification process.
Could you share more details on what has changed in the certification process?
Sure. Before the standard was introduced, companies had to complete testing and apply for a notified body certificate to achieve certification. However, under the new regulations, companies now only need to complete product testing, get an AOC from an authorized body, and then self-declare compliance to meet the requirements, except for products with high-risk functions, such as those related to the influence or financial services, still require a notified body certificate. However, whether the AOC can be provided also depends on the policies of each certification body. Some certification bodies do not support the way of AOC certificates.
How does this benefit business looking to certify their products?
This adjustment reduces both cost and time, making compliance more efficient for business. Currently, we are working closely with our partner testing lab to confirm the detailed AOC process to help business smoothly adapt to the new requirements.
It's great to hear that efforts are being made to simplify the process while keeping safety for high-risk products. So, when proving compliance with RED cybersecurity requirements, what are the key documents that companies need to provide? Could you summarize them for us again?
Of course, to demonstrate compliance with RED cybersecurity certification, companies typically need the following key documents. The first is Notified Body Certificate. This is required for high-risk products, such as those involving influence or financial services. Second is AOC certificate, applicable to most products. The third one is test report. The tested products must comply with EN 18031 standards. And the last is self-declaration. Companies should declare their products in compliance with RED standards. These documents from the core compliance materials for RED cybersecurity certification.
Thank you, Suresh. That's a clear summary. Hi, Sander. I have learned that many companies are already preparing for it. Can you share me some market feedback and the industry trends with us?
Okay, based on our observation, the companies that currently prioritize the RED certification can be divided in two following kinds. The first kind is large consumer electronics brand. These international brands typically have well-established compliance systems and global market strategies. making them proactive in obtaining ID certification. For example, Lenovo has already certified its laptops on the EN 18031 standards, such as brands has mutual compliance frameworks, allowing them to quickly adapt to regulatory changes.
That makes sense. Since these brands already have professional certification team, they can take action quickly. What about companies in the smart home industry? How are they responding to these new requirements?
Great questions. The second kind is smart home brands. Smart home devices rely heavily on wireless communication, and ID regulations specifically address cybersecurity requirements in this field. With stricter EU regulation, many brands are actively seek ID certification to stay compliant.
So apart from meeting compliance needs, are there other factors driving smart home brands to get certified?
Beyond compliance, competition is also a factor. Companies worry about the security issues could lead to competitors' compliance and impact sales.
How do you see the future adoption trend of RED cybersecurity certification?
As you can see, some leading brands have already obtained the certificate, while others are rushing to apply. In the next 6 to 12 months, industry-wide compliance is expected to rise, making ID certification essentially for entering the EU market.
This is indeed a trend. From your insights, cybersecurity compliance has become an essential requirement for smart devices expanding into global markets. If it were you, how would you advise business on deciding whether to do certification?
That's a great question. ID cybersecurity certification is not just about market access. It's also a key factor in a brand's long-term competitiveness. Companies can access the need of ID cybersecurity certification based on several core factors. First, does your target market require ID certification? ID certification is a mandatory requirement for the EU market. Products that fail to comply will not be allowed for sale in the region, even if your primary market is outside the EU. Stricter cybersecurity regulations are emerging globally, and other regions may adopt similar standards in the future.
That's an important consideration. Even companies not currently selling in the EU should stay aware of these changes to remain competitive. What about sales channels? Do they influence the need for certification?
Yes, definitely. Also need to check if the sales channels have compliance requirements. Major retail and e-commercial platforms may have stricter compliance standards. Platforms like Amazon, Costco, and Lidl may require RED certificate and test report. Additionally, B2B buyers, especially those dealing with enterprises, smart devices, and security products, may also require proof of compliance.
That makes sense. If a company wants to sell through these major channels, they need to be ready with the right certifications.
Yes, and the third factor is whether the fee is within the budget, because it involves testing, certification fees, and potential product modifications.
So companies need to evaluate not just the necessity, but also whether they have the resource.
Yes, and the latest point to consider is competitors' progress. Once a standard becomes widely adopted in the industry, other brands may face higher competitive barriers. Non-certificate products could also be reported by competitors, potentially impacting your market share.
This is a powerful reason to act early. Companies that delay certification risk falling behind their competitors. Are there any strategies you can share with us?
Based on these factors, here's our recommendations. For products sold through major retail channels must be certified. Big retailers have stricter compliance requirements, and RED certifications could soon become a basic intro requirements.
Do you have any real examples of this happening?
Yes, let's look at a case related to EN 303645. Crosstalk requires the suppliers to provide test report and compliance statements. Many brands that failed to meet these requirements had their purchase suspended, resulting in excess inventory and lost sales revenue. In addition, for high-value products, certification is strongly recommended.
Why? Will this certification also provide an advantage in marketing?
Absolutely. Have our IED certification not only boosts the brand's credibility, but also serves as a selling point when showcased on packaging, marketing materials, and the website to build consumer trust. Last, for big brands and multinational companies, certification is must. IED certification is unavoidable if you want to enter the EU market. Many companies go even further, preparing for other cybersecurity standards like ISO 27001 to ensure global compliance.
That's interesting. It sounds like forward-thinking companies don't just stop at R&D. They aim for wider cybersecurity certifications to stay ahead.
Exactly. Beyond market entry, IED certification also protects against materials compliance from competitors.
Do you have an example of this happening?
Yes, here's a case. A Turkish brand smartphone camera was pulled from the EU market due to cybersecurity vulnerabilities reported by a competitor, resulting in €21 million fine. Meanwhile, its competitors had already completed the certification in advance and seized the market share.
Thanks, Sander. Your analysis is clear, especially on why RED certification is essential for us. For companies that haven't started or just decided to go for it, we recommend planning ahead, as the entire process typically takes at least 4 to 8 weeks. Here is a rough timeline. The first week is initial preparation. You need to define your product roadmap and decide which products need certification. Then you can ask the module supplier whether they have already certified the module to avoid unnecessary testing costs. The second week is certification document preparation. This stage needs to gather all necessary technical documents, such as product specifications, software, and many compliance files. Weeks 3 to 6 are for testing and problem solving. It's time to submit samples for testing, and the certification bodies will conduct assessment based on RED requirements, review technical documents, and provide feedback if any corrections are needed. And the last week, 6 to 8, is review and issue certificate.
Yes, many companies have accelerated the process before the deadline of enforcement of the regulation, especially this brand that preparing to launch a large number of products in the EU market. However, many small and medium-sized enterprises are facing great challenges in dealing with IDDA. These challenges are major reflect in resource limitations, especially in testing cost and the certification time. The high standards of testing, document preparation, and process management often make it difficult for these companies. In response to this, Tuya also provides related services support to our partners. At the same time, Tuya's module certification plan has also reduced a large part of work for Tuya product.
Could you introduce the service in detail and why Tuya certified module can help our partners reduce the workload?
Of course, when applying for certification, whether the module used in product has already been certified significantly impacts the difficulty and cost of process. We can categorize the approachments in 2 types. The first one, module is already certified. If the Tuya modules used in the product has been certified, all partners can reuse some of the module's test data and technical document. This greatly reduces the testing scope, shortens the timeline, and lowers overall cost. The second is modules not certified. If the module has not been certified, all partners will need to go through the full certification process, including all security tests and document preparation. This results in a long period and higher cost.
So for looking to launch quickly, using a pre-certified module is a smart choice. What if our partners directly purchase Tuya certified final products? Is there any way to save time and money in that case?
In this case, if all partners use Tuya app, purchase the certified final product using the same main control chip, communication chip, hardware design, and firmware, or just delete some of firmware, the certificate can be derived.
That's good to know. As more labs obtain qualifications, the process should become even smoother. What about companies that don't have much experience with cybersecurity certification? How does Tuya support them?
For companies lacking experiences in cybersecurity certification, Tuya offers an end-to-end services. Tuya can oversee the entire process, helping business accelerate this approved timeline.
That sounds like a good option, especially for companies unfamiliar with compliance requirements. Is this service cost-effective compared to handling the certification independently?
Yes, compared to handling the certification independently, Tuya's services does not introduce significant additional cost but can greatly reduce the time and effort required. Even if a product uses a non-certified modules, Tuya provides a complete certification solution. Business only need to provide the necessary product information, and Tuya's team takes care of the rest.
That's right. Our goal is to make the process as efficient and smooth as possible to help our partners enter the market faster.
In addition, since the order schedule of the most laboratories in the market has been fully booked, consider the time of cargo transportation. I suggest that you start the certification as soon as possible. In addition, since this is a new technical standard, the testing time of customized products is uncontrollable, and the fluctuations of value items need to be considered.
Thank you, Sander. In what case can our partners refer the data of Tuya's certified modules? Suresh, could you talk more about this?
Of course, one of the biggest concerns during the process is whether they can directly reference already certified firmware data. This mainly depends on the following situations. There are three cases where you can refer to the module data. Firstly, sub-firmware. The module needs to be in our certified module list, and the firmware baseline has been certified. Secondly, MCU firmware. The module needs to be in our certified module list and comply with standards. The last is the customized firmware. The module also needs to be in our certified module list, and the baseline version must above Tuya operating system 3.8.15.
That's great. They can reuse existing test data and avoid unnecessary testing. Could you please tell us the cases where it is not possible to reference the module data?
On the right are cases that require certification. They are non-Tuya firmware or self-developed SDK firmware. If the firmware is not in our certified database, it must do full certification.
Okay, at this point, I'm sure everyone is curious about which modules are certified and which are in the process. All certification work of Tuya module was completed by Suresh's team. Suresh, could you please give us a brief introduction?
Sure. As a global leader in smart solutions, Tuya prioritizes compliance with the IDD and has incorporated it into our long-term strategy. We have put our module plans into a table. As you can see from this list, up to now, we have completed most of our modules. and some modules are still being certified. Overall, Tuya is pushing more modules planned to ensure that it meets the compliance needs and helps our partner to enter the EU market more smoothly. Our partners can prioritize certified modules to reduce the difficulty and speed up the marketing process.
Thank you, Suresh. I'm sure everyone now has a clear understanding of the overall plan. When it comes to applying for RED certification, what specific materials do business need to prepare?
The materials for RED can be divided into preparation before certification and submission of certification. And enterprises need to provide corresponding documents according to different stages. Before certification, need to prepare basic product information sheet, including the following key details: company information, product name and model, firmware version and security features, wireless communication method such as Wi-Fi, BLE, or Zigbee. If you have a series of products that require certification, you will also need to prepare a product variance sheet to experience the difference between the series model and the main test model, such as appearance, interface, firmware version, etc. At the certification stage, need to submit product-related information documents, including user manual, device label, hardware and software list, and vulnerability analysis report. Of course, Tuya has already compiled a list of all the necessary documents. We can provide full assistance to help customers fill them out, ensuring the completeness and accuracy of the metrics to help business complete the RED certification more efficiently. If anyone has specific products to evaluate, feel free to contact us. We can offer more detailed guidance.
Okay. Once we receive the materials from our partners, what steps do we take next? Are there any things that brands need to collaborate with us?
Yes. After receiving them, we will carefully verify them and ensure everything is correct and then submit them to the certified body. During the product testing, the certified body will check the product's functionality, security mechanisms, and overall compliance. If there are any issues or areas that require adjustments, we will need the cooperation to address them.
If anyone has specific product plans that need to evaluation for the certification pathway, feel free to reach out to us after the webinar. We can provide more detailed guidance.
And here I collected some questions that customers are concerned about. Now let Sander and Suresh answer them for us. Okay, the first question is my product within the scope of the regulation?
Yes, according to the requirements, radio equipment that communicates directly or indirectly through the internet needs to be certified.
Okay, thank you. The second question is whether the old products or products that are already on the shelf need to be recertified.
According to the current understanding, products that have been put on the market before August 1st can continue to be sold without certification. Products after August 1st must complete RED cybersecurity certification before entering the EU market. But in the end, it will still depend on the policies of each sales channel.
Okay, thank you. The third question is, what is the process of applying for certification through Tuya?
The services process is as follows. First, you need to submit your certification requirements to Tuya. Tuya will evaluate the plan and cost. During the certification process, you only need to cooperate with Tuya and third-party laboratories to complete the test and the material.
Okay, thank you both for your answers. And thank you for sharing so much valuable information with us today. And today's webinar is coming to an end. And let me summarize the key takeaways. Firstly, there are new changes to RED cybersecurity certification in 2025. For some products, The certification now requires an AOC certificate and self-declaration instead of the previous notified body certificate. For high-risk products, such as those related to infants or financial service, still require a notified body certificate. Secondly, the market response to RED cybersecurity is still positive, and many companies have taken action. We also recommend that you get in touch with the main sales channels of your products to understand their requirements. At the same time, keep track of competitors and plan in advance. For partners using Tuya modules, we offer a new data authorization service to help you reduce time and cost. Lastly, I want to remind everyone that RED certification is not only a gateway to the EU market, but also an important step in ensuring product security and protecting consumer rights. We hope everyone will plan ahead, be well prepared, and avoid last-minute rush. If you have further questions or interested in our module data authorizations, you can also contact us with the above emails.